All right, brilliant. Okay. Oop. I did buy this thing specifically on wheels so that we can come round and present it nicely. Okay. So firstly, thank you all so much for traveling near and far to make it here today. Really appreciate your presence, your company as well. This is just amazing to be able to do this. So obviously, I'm, online coaching you girls, helping you with nutrition, mindset, lifestyle things, exercise, programming. But also it's nice to be able to do things where we all come together and meet up and meet one another. Because then also the banter in the group becomes a little bit more real as well. You kind of go, oh yeah, I know who you are. So welcome to the Girl Boss Method. What I wanted to do here is I'm quite a visual person. I'm not sure if you girls are as well. It's just nice to write things out in a timeline. So I wanted to just present me, okay, and just talk to you a little bit about my journey and why I'm here and why I do what I do. So obviously you've stumbled across me through sort of content on Instagram and stuff, and perhaps maybe you've had a few snippets into, well, who is this girl? I've seen other people's content and, there are loads of coaches out there. Why have I come to Ritu and what's her background? Like, why am I here and why am I do this? So I live, breathe and just exist for fitness, for health, for nutrition. And I think, again, this all comes from going way back into sort of a little bit of my own journey from the beginning. I started off, you could say as a child, I was a bit wild, right? I was climbing walls and jumping sofas and the rest of it. So I think at the age of 9, I started off in gymnastics. Now, for those of you with kids, maybe you've got them in sport and got them involved in things, but grassroots, this is where I started. Now, I wasn't the best gymnast in the world. I'd probably say I was a bit crap. So what normally happens there is they sign you up into their coaching program. So you start looking after all the other little kids as well and helping out. So again, helping out with small children, young children, children growing up, maybe even some children with like special needs or that sort of thing. And then I went off to, you do the sort of part-time, you're coaching. And then from here, I kind of went off into the real world. After I'd finished school, I went to college and bizarrely, I went and did performing arts, media studies and English. And I didn't actually do anything with that. And I just went down the route of going to get retail work. And it wasn't until, and I didn't think university was for me, right? Maybe some of you haven't gone to uni and that's how you felt initially. So about age 20, I discovered I could have a career in health and fitness. So I thought, oh my God, I love sports, I love the gym, and I also love this other route of performing arts and studies and stuff, but what sort of career and what sort of longevity am I gonna have in that world? So that's why I decided to go and become a gym instructor. So I did that at age 20, and I worked for, at the time, one of the biggest health clubs, in the zone, Holmes Place, top of the Bentall Centre, Kingston upon Thames. I did my graph there. From here, I won't bore you with everything, but I've sort of dabbled in still coaching gymnastics part-time, still working for various different gyms, for leisure centres as well, local council leisure centres, that sort of thing. Started also moving into membership, so you start going into sales and stuff like that, which was a bit weird, or retention. So you start changing things. And then it was about 26 years old, I probably went through the biggest transition of my life. Everyone's got this wild story of how they met someone that wasn't quite good for them, or they got caught in the wrong crowd, or anything like that. So I had this really horrible partner, and sort of, I realized what that situation was. I'm lucky that I'm out of there and I've moved on. And age 26, I went and said to myself, I said, mark my words, this situation is not going to be the thing that defines me. It's what I'm about to do that is. It's looking at this long term. in the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years plus, that's where I'm going to kind of move and push forward. And so I decided to do the most bizarre thing, much to everybody's shock. I decided to go to university. I was never the academic. You know, I was the kid at school. If they had a name for it back then for ADHD, I would have been diagnosed with it. But anyway, we move. I decided to go to university. Whilst doing university, I moved back to my parents. I was living out on my own before. Moved back home, became a cab driver, bizarre as well. So I was driving a cab to get through uni, and then also picking up and coaching gymnastics towards, you know, the evening. So I'd take people to King's Cross in the morning. I'd drive them there. I'd have my car. I'd go to university. I went to London Metropolitan University, and I studied sports therapy. Now, sports therapy is a mixture. You'd kind of park it at sort of almost being like rehab, a bit of sports stuff, but the musculoskeletal side of physio. So you've got physios, and they do amazing jobs, but this is the more sort of MSK side of things. So you're seeing people that have more needs in terms of, you know, sports injuries. Maybe they need some help with sports performance, that sort of thing. And uni was tough, right? So I did uni. I came out. I finished that world, and then again, alongside this, I had sort of various other things, or I needed to explore. So I went and did some, like, you know, some pitch side work, you know, going out and rugby players and football players, freezing my ass off, and, you know, helping them with these injuries. It really wasn't very exciting. I found myself still coaching gymnastics, which I absolutely love. And I always joke and say that when I'm 70 or 80, I'll go back and coach. And then I was also went back to the gym world. I went back into personal training, and I was PTing. And this, we're going forward, we're jumping forward. I want to say this was around 2015 to 2016 is when I decided to start getting back into the PT world. And I thought, well, you know what, this is great. I'm back where I feel like I belonged. And, you know, I've gone away and I've done uni, but I wanted to give it one more shot and come back into the sports therapy world and just see how I'd kind of get moving along in that sort of world. So I ended up working for a physio clinic, went to a physiotherapy clinic. It was multidisciplinary. So with this, I was doing rehab, I was actually doing PT, I was doing massage, and I picked up this amazing thing, I can't even spell, this amazing new thing that has got very popular right now, Pilates. So that's what happened there, right? Now, what I found was, even through working in PT or working for the physio, I did actually, haven't said this, but I did move on and work for a Pilates physio clinic as well, which was great, which, again, with them, that was a great experience because they kind of trained me up to a high-level Pilates coach. So I started doing things like reformer and Cadillacs and all sorts of crazy things. One thing I found was always missing was the amount of support you're able to give humans outside of seeing them for those 45 minutes, for that hour. They'd come in and they'd do 1 or 2 sessions a week, and you would have no other contact with them because they had busy lives or they had other things going on. But even with some of the clinics, people would come in and they would train with you and they'd do PT, they'd book in for 30 minutes, but they would see any different coach. And the clinic's selling point was, well, you get expertise from, you know, every different person has got a different take on movement, and you'll get the best experience. But what was really missing was the outcome that people were looking for. So they were looking to achieve a result, whether it was improving their health or it was improving, you know, their sports-specific work, or it was improving their body composition. Whatever it was, that was kind of missing, because it's not just the 1 hour or the 2 hours that you do, you know, in the gym. It's not just that. It's everything else. And so within this sort of timeline, and somewhere along the way, I decided, I was also working on my own fitness, right? I decided to compete in bikini bodybuilding, and that opened up my eyes to sort of a new world. And, you know, you're going and you're working really hard and pushing towards something. That was really exciting. And at the same time, because I was making my own changes, I realized how much of an impact this guy had. Huge, huge impact. No matter how much you work out, no matter how much cardio you did, no matter how many different classes, or, you know, I'm working out 6-7 times a week, nothing mattered as much as the foundation here. And this mattered because it wasn't just fueling your workouts and helping you, let's say, lose fat, change your body composition, but it was actually helping you still stay energized. So you, again, ladies, we've all come from that world. Cut carbs. Yeah, you want to get fit? Cut carbs. Oh, maybe try keto. Oh, I had great results on, you know, doing the cabbage soup diet. Or I had, you know, great results doing Herbalife. They had all these different things going on. But again, something was missing in terms of how to make it, you know, how to help you get the results, how to make it applicable to real life, etc. as well. And so, yes, I did study nutrition. So I studied with nutrition with a company called M&U Nutrition. They were great. They're grounded in evidence. It was a year-long course. It took me about 3 years to complete because they tell you that, you know, you could do this alongside working. Definitely not. So it took me years to finish that, and I ended up finishing that in COVID. So here I am now, and, you know, I decided to initially set up my own practice from home because I knew there was something I wanted to do. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to be able to, like, have more of a personable relationship with people that I was coaching. So I set up my own practice from home, and it was in Pilates and it was sports massage. But again, there was still something missing, and the right people were not finding me. My core people that I want to work with were not finding me. And so obviously this new thing came about called online coaching, and everyone's seen that kind of, you know, take speed over the last few years. And you're like, okay, there's something here. And obviously I've had a coach when I competed, and I was like, okay, there's something here. So this is where I decided to start online coaching. And at first, I used to coach, believe it or not, I used to coach men because I found them quite, you know, straightforward and easy. You tell a man to eat this, you tell them to exercise, and they'll ask you for a meal plan, and they'll ask their wife or their girlfriend to cook it for them, right? But obviously, that's not really who I want to coach, right? It's not who I connect with. I'm actually one of 3 girls. I've got my younger sister there, and I've got an older sister, and I just think being around women, it makes sense in terms of who I am. I'm going to go through a lot of the things that you girls are going through in this room. We all have menstrual cycles. You know, some of us are experiencing perimenopausal symptoms. Some of us are going through menopause right now, and some of us are going to be are actually out of menopause, and that sort of stage is finished. So this is a thing. Whilst I navigate this for me, it's also quite nice to be able to navigate this for other women as well, and so that we can keep on moving that ball and that post forward. So obviously here I am today with the Girl Boss method, and all the things that I do along here with the Girl Boss method is I get to connect with amazing women from all over the world. So as you know, we've got some girls from Scotland. There's England, there's Ireland there. We've got girls from Scotland, a girl from Scotland, we've got one from Austria. I've had a couple of clients from Canada as well. And these people, I'd never be able to see them working out in my local gym, and nor will I be able to see them or meet them or help them anywhere else in the world. And so I feel so grateful that each one of you are here in this room with me. It's nice that you're in England, you're from London, you're not too far, and we're all able to do this together. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me. I just thought it might be nice for you to kind of understand, you know, why I'm doing what I do, where I've kind of come from, and where I want to go with this. So where I want to go with this is I do obviously want to be able to impact more women's lives and take this further. I'd love to run more events like this. I think this is an amazing pillar to have as part of the program. Community is such a good thing. It's, we're all moving forward together. So after this, we'll have a little break, and I'd love you to come and have some snacks. Maybe even read some of the messages that are on there as well. We will do some movement stuff. I promise you, you're not going to be stood here for the next few hours, listen to me talk. But yeah, thank you very much. Fab. All right. Let's jump up and move around. So